So Sherlock Series 4 happened. I never thought we'd get to this day, but we're here, and we're here to discuss the 6 Thatchers. Let's go. I'm not very well, which is why my voice sounds like this, and my ears are blocked, and my face looks like this, but people were asking me to film an episode review, and I did want to talk about it because there is so much to discuss about this episode. Oh my god. The long-awaited Sherlock. I waited for this for too long. The 6 Thatchers, it dropped last Sunday, and let's just talk about some of the stuff that happened, shall we? I've got my laptop here because I wrote some notes to discuss. I kind of scripted it, but then I fell asleep halfway, so about halfway through this video we're just gonna go off track. So the main plot of the 6 Thatchers has this overarching plot of Moriarty. Now that is how season 3 ended. Moriarty's "did you miss me" message. Now I never doubted for a second that Moriarty is dead, and Sherlock also never doubted this. He says so in series 4 at the start. He's like, no, Moriarty's dead. His coming back is like this final case that he's left for Sherlock to deal with. Yes, throughout the episode we got these small references to remind us about this overarching plot and this overarching threat, because there is no doubt that Moriarty, or whatever he's left behind, will play into the next 2 episodes. We've got this new actor guy, I can't remember his name, it's slipping from my mind, who will also play this villain, and I think he is definitely tied in with Moriarty. But we did have all these small references, like for example Mary's "did you miss me" disc at the end of the episode, and Sherlock telling one of his clients that Moriarty was back even though it was a joke. You know, all these little things that Moffat and Gatiss put into the episode to just remind us that Moriarty is there, not to forget him, despite the plot of the actual story. And the plot of the actual story was a lot about Mary and her past with AGRA, you know, the acronym thing, and the 6 Thatchers, which was interesting. I haven't read all of the Sherlock canon, but I do believe this is one which was adapted from the 6 Napoleons, something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh my god, I just had the best idea. The game is on. Ah, Sherlock. Oh, this is not a good look. Oh, I do not suit hats. So anyway, let's talk about the plot in general. Here's the thing with Sherlock. I'm gonna take this off, it looks stupid. Here's the thing with Sherlock. The first 2 seasons of Sherlock are some of the best television to ever bless our screens, and I stand by that. I think the first 2 seasons of Sherlock are pure writing gold. The scenarios and deductions made are completely genius, which is why I have rewatched those episodes countless times, and I feel like some of that magic was slightly lost in season 3, and even more so in season 4. And now that's not to say that I didn't love the new episode and didn't love season 3, but this no longer feels like the same show as seasons 1 and 2, and I think a lot of people quite agree with me, because suddenly it's not just about Sherlock and John solving these crimes, it suddenly has a much bigger picture. And I think one of the reasons that is because of Mary introduced as a character. Don't get me wrong, I think Amanda Abbington is an amazing actress, and she really showed what she was emotionally capable of showing as an actress in this later episode. We'll get on to Mary's death later. Something about her character as John's wife throws off the whole chemistry and the whole vibe that I felt was there in the first 2 seasons. Now, I actually really enjoyed seeing Mary's character develop and her arc. I mean, she's such a strong, independent woman, and she's such a relatable person, and she brings so much humour to the show. But like I said, her being this third party, she brings so much backstory and so much more history and more stuff to explore that I feel like the whole world has suddenly gotten a lot bigger, which is why the focus of the show seems to have shifted a little bit. Now that is one of the reasons I personally feel why they felt like they had to kill Mary off, and I think her death is quite crucial to the development of John and Sherlock. Should we talk about her death now? Nah, we'll leave that till later. So this episode was all about betrayal, you know, Mary supposedly betraying AJ, Sherlock betraying his last vow to protect Mary, and John betraying his fucking wedding vows, okay? Let's just talk about that for a hot second. What? Who? John Watson? Betraying his wedding vows? What are you talking about? I think that was what was running past all our minds. What was John doing? As soon as that woman came on the bus, I was like, whoa, I don't, stop. We still don't know the relationship that John had with this woman. We don't know the full-blown extent of this affair, but from what we did see, what Was that John Watson? This is what I call character assassination. Now, I've spoken about this before. We all know how I feel about writers changing someone's character completely. I mean, this wasn't John Watson. This is not the John Watson we know, and I stand by that. To a certain extent, I understand his purpose on the show. I mean, you know, this affair thing is to, you know, make him guilty with Mary's death and all of that, but also, no, what? It wasn't just like him texting this other woman. This episode made him such a dislikable character. I mean, for example, that scene where Mary is looking after their screaming child who's woken up in the middle of the night, and John lets Mary deal with that in the other room, and meanwhile texts this other woman, E, as she calls herself. That is just, that is character assassination in its purest form. It's put there deliberately for us to dislike John, for us to watch him being a bad father, a bad husband. I'm really upset by this, in case you can't tell. And on top of that, we have that ending scene where he's just an absolute dick to Sherlock. Like, I get it, his wife has just died, but him pushing Sherlock away is not the answer. Sherlock goes into therapy by the end, right? And I think that just shows Sherlock's character arc. He goes from this very cold, inhuman person in the first season, you know, completely like acts like a computer, doesn't have any emotional feelings, and by this season he literally goes to therapy, which we all know how hard it is for Sherlock to go to therapy, because it's basically surrendering himself a bit, like letting down his guard, doing something which he probably thinks is stupid for his friend John Watson, who, can we just remind ourselves, cast our minds back to season 3 where he literally comes back to life for John Watson. And now John is pushing Sherlock away, and that's really upsetting. Really upsetting. Let's talk about Mary's death now. This is where I go off the script, because this is the point where I fell asleep while writing the script. But Mary's death. Okay, so we're in this aquarium. There's this villain, this receptionist. It was clever because I didn't see it coming, but also, like, this receptionist villain, she's probably the lamest villain we've had so far. I mean, you know, compared to Magnuson and Moriarty, we've got now this, what's her name, Vivian? Anyway, we'll leave her for now. So she shoots Mary. No, she shoots Sherlock, sorry. She aims for Sherlock. Can we just talk about how ridiculous this whole scene is? So Mary goes in and pushes Sherlock out of the way. First of all, if she has enough time to do that, she surely has enough time, you know, instead of sacrificing herself just to push him out the way and to go with him. So, which is why I've seen some theories that people are saying Mary was terminally ill or something, or there was something wrong with Mary where she knew she was going to die, and this was kind of her giving herself to death, because there is this whole theme throughout the episode as well with outrunning death and not being able to outrun death forever, which is this whole, you know, the whole story about the merchant at the beginning. But anyway, Mary jumps in front of Sherlock, takes the bullet, and we're in this room full of police officers, full of an army doctor and the world's smartest detective, and we just watch Mary jump in front, and that's that. And that whole death scene was just, is that something that the writers actually wrote in? I almost expected better from all the characters, and as a consequence I expected better from the writers. I don't know. It was very honourable and all. I mean, she sacrificed herself for Sherlock, and I think it was really nice how she apologised for shooting Sherlock in her final breaths, and that was really sweet. But on the other hand, something about the way she died, oh, I hate it, oh my gosh. Also, I loved Mary as a character despite all the stuff I said before, and I didn't want her to go, and when she went, it's very heartbreaking. I just realised I'm still wearing the Sherlock coat. Oh well. So next I wanted to talk about some fan theories and to break down a few of those, like whether I agree with them or not. So the first one is this affair that John has is somehow tied in with Moriarty. And I think this is definitely viable because basically, you know the scene where we see the other woman, E, or I hate her, sitting at the bus stop. She's sitting in front of a poster of the bad guy in the next episode, whose name I can't remember for the life of me, like Toby something. We see her sitting in front of the poster, and I do believe that that guy is associated with Moriarty somehow, so therefore she must be associated with Moriarty. That is my prediction. I'm sick. So the next one, you know at the end of the episode when Mary on the videotape says, "Go to hell, Sherlock"? Now at first I was completely confused because why is she telling him to go to hell after giving him such a heartfelt goodbye message? So it turns out there is a town in Norway called Hell, which is also a coastal town, which is interesting because we see that in that montage of Mary travelling the world, she goes to Norway, to a coastal town. So by her saying, go to Hell, Sherlock, I believe, and so does the internet apparently, that she is leading Sherlock to this, you know, the rock area where she pulls out her passport and all of that. So that's really interesting, and I'm really excited to see that because I think it's always cool when Sherlock kind of goes abroad with his cases. I'm really excited to see that. So the other kind of fan theory is that Mary is still alive. This, I have to say, I think she's gone. Like, I think they've maxed out on the amount of characters they can bring back to life. I think Mary is gone, and I think that's going to be really interesting to see Sherlock and John's relationship now, because obviously everything is different. John is now a single father. He has all this guilt from the affair. Sherlock's broken the vow, which he promised not to break, which is obviously like going to really affect him as a character, and that's really interesting. I'm really curious how that all turns out. I mean, apparently they do reconcile. I mean, John and Sherlock can't hate each other forever because John Lock is a thing. But yeah, that's just about it for today. Let me know your own fan theories. I'll do another video next week for episode 2, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Leave your own opinions about the show down below. Leave your own theories, whether you think these theories are true or not, whether you think Mary's alive, and I'll see you all next week, probably with another Sherlock video. I hope you enjoyed. I'm sorry I'm sick, I'm sorry I spoke so fast, and I'll see you soon. Bye!